Good morning. Good morning, cubies and newbies. How are you today? It is. Oh, kitty cat, open the door. It's Saturday. Da, 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 da. Thank you for joining me today. Yesterday I worked on the plus cube. I did it by treating it like a 5 by 5 and using the A and B formula. And I ended up with a parity, which confused me yesterday because it had been a while since I'd worked on this cube. I tried to solve the parity by rotating the top row, which works when there's a corner parity. This is an edge parity, so that didn't work. For the edge parity, you have to rotate one of the center rows, and so that could be either the top row, the white row, the middle row, or the yellow row. But if I do the white row, then this emblem, which lines up the colors on the side, would be out of place. So the row that I want to turn is the yellow row. So I turn the yellow row. Try saying that 3 times fast. So, if you have any questions or comments, talk to me in the chat. I love to dialogue more than I love to monologue. I do love the sound of my voice, though. Alright, so I'm going to rotate the yellow row 1/4 turn. Either way. Boom. 1/4 turn. There it is. And then I resolve the center edges, which these are all center edges because centers, not edges, they're all centers because it's a 5 by 5. So now let's do the green again. This green wants to go up here. So I'll start by this. Let's start by the edge. Let's do the edges first. Okay, so this cube wants to go up here. So I go up, slide, second up, reverse, down, reverse, down. Okay, and set the top. All right, so that's correct. Now I'm going to move these edges up. This one goes up to here. You know what? Yeah, up, slide up, reverse, down, reverse, down. I love the cube, it's so easy to turn. Down, set the top. Okay, so, and then this one right here is going to go up, up, slide, up, reverse, down, reverse, down, set. Okay, all right, so this is solved. This one, then I work my way down. This is so. All right, so up, slide up, reverse down, reverse down, and set. Okay, that's correct, that's correct. And then I'm looking for the greens again. This green and red will go here. So up, I should put a marker on it like I do for the other ones. This piece is going to go up here. So I go up, slide to a different column, second up, reverse, down, reverse, down, and set. Okay, and then this green is going to go up. So up, slide, up, formula B, slide, down, slide, out of my way, down, set. Okay, so I'm going row by row. All right, this red and this white is going to go up there. I'm going to bring it here. So this red and white is going to go right there. So up, slide up, reverse down, reverse down. and set. Okay. Red and yellow. Just going to go here. Go up, in, up, slide, down, set. Okay. And then these pieces all want to move up to here, so we'll do that one at a time. We'll do this one. What am I doing? Did I not do? I am confused. I turned the white and didn't turn it. What happened to me? Oh no, I am so confused. All right, I got messed up. That's okay. All right, I don't know what I did. I got confused. And plus is not my favorite. It's not my favorite cube, but I thought I would try it. All right. Do you guys want me to finish the plus? Good morning. Those of you who've just joined me. Oh, I got to see a couple new names. Those of you who've just joined me, hi, I am Sunshine. And this is the ABCube method for solving every Rubik's Cube. Every Rubik's Cube. That's a misnomer. They're not Rubik's Cubes. They're Rubik only actually invented the 3x3 and the way of holding it. So he didn't. Don't want to get into that again today. A and B. A brings a piece to the top. B moves 3 pieces around, and that's all you ever need to do on n by n by n cube. The plus cube gets more confusing because, especially if you lose track of which column you're on. So A and B solves every size Rubik's Cube. You don't have to learn new algorithms when going from a 3 to a 4 or higher. In fact, because A moves the piece to the top, B moves 3 pieces around. With other algorithms, with other methods of doing it, including the beginner's method, not only do you have to learn multiple algorithms, dozens or more, you have to remember which algorithm does which thing and in which order to do which algorithm. Formula A and B, since A and B does not affect the other pieces of the cube, it only moves the pieces that you're trying to move. It doesn't matter which order you do it with. You do it with, so you don't have to remember an order of operations. When you're doing the formula B, if you do the top row and outside columns, then it moves corners around, these 3 corners. Is this pre-recorded? Hello, vertically TTV. No, it is not pre-recorded. My name is Sunshine, and I'm the creator of the ABCube method for solving Rubik's Cubes. I published it online in 2020, and Formula A brings a piece to the top, B moves 3 pieces around, like I said, and that's all you need to do to solve every size n by n by n cube. It does away with parities because parities are a lie, and the cube is basically honest. A parity, if you have a parity where it looks like there's only 2 pieces that need to move, and the formula B moves 3 pieces around, all of your algorithms move 3 pieces around, then there are 3 pieces. You see the 2. The third piece that you do not see is the piece that you do not see. It is the row that touches the parity, and when you rotate that row 1/4 turn, the parity dissolves itself, and instead of having 2 pieces that need only 2 pieces, you now have one edge that's correct and 3 edges that are not. And those 3 edges you know how to place. And if you haven't if you save your centers to last, then you don't have to replace the centers that were incorrectly placed. If they were correctly placed, you wouldn't have had a parity. So they were incorrectly placed, and you're going to have to reset them. I know that the parity algorithm only takes 4 seconds for speed cubers, but it takes considerably less to do that 1/4 turn. And if you haven't done, hi, thanks for the follow. That's great. I love that. If you do the centers last instead of first, then when you make that 1/4 turn, you don't have to reset your centers. So this is a newbie method. I won't say beginner's method because that's already established as to what that means. And this is not that. So when I teach this method, and I do teach it in real life and over the phone with my sister, and I am set up to do Zoom calls where I can see your cube, you can see my cube, and I can walk you through the A and the B method until it is solved. And then I stream it here on Twitch. So so that's it. A and B is all you need to do. And my throat is dry. How are you today? Thank you for joining me. If you have questions or comments, I love to chat. Can I do an example solve? I can do an example solve. Which one? What size do you want me to do? The 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, or the 8? I will do it. I'm not going to do the 3 because the 3x3 doesn't show how the centers are done. So I'm not going to do the 3x3. I'll do this 4x4 instead. I'll do a 3x3 for you because you asked nicely. Where's my 3x3? Here's my 3x3. All right. So scramble, scramble, scramble. I do love teaching my method because I'm just conceited enough to think that that's awesome. Scramble, 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 scramble. You can do the order of operations, like I said, does not matter. It matters on these types of things. Formula A and B solves these as well. How long does it take me to solve the cube? I'm not fast. I will say that up front. I have been solving since the early 80s, and so my method of learning was muscle memory. And so back in the 80s, the cubes did not have, there were no finger tricks because you could not do that. The cube had to be lined up perfectly. There was no cornering. And it took 2 hands to make each turn back in the 80s, which makes Jeffrey Varasano's, I moved it. I have a cube from the 80s that I play with to demonstrate how not smooth it was. But the 23.42 seconds of the first record was a lot more impressive considering that it was used on the original Rubik's Cube. I can solve my cube using my method, my 3x3 using my method. But evidently I can't drink properly. I'll be right back. I need some water. Okay, well, that was unpleasant. Sorry about that. Yes, I am all right. went down my Sunday throat. Okay. What was I saying? Yeah, the cubing. Okay, how fast am I? When I can solve my cube with my method in average, I average a minute and a half. I only time myself when I'm using my Go cube, because I've never really cared about. I've never really cared about speed. I've cared about speed. I just haven't been into speed. When I watched the first record, the first competition, I was down to like 3 minutes back in the 80s, and I thought it was just like, really good, not yet, but because back then, I mean, if you could do the cube at all, you were considered a genius. But not like I had created my own method. I had just bought this book at the local 7-Eleven, and memorized it. But if you could solve the cube, you were a genius. That was just the public opinion. So when I saw the world's record, I set my cube down. I didn't touch it for a month. I was so frustrated because I knew that I could not compete with speed. I probably could nowadays with the way cubes are, but I'm old and I use muscle memory. So anyway, so my best according to GoCube is 1 minute and 21 seconds. So, but when I teach, total teach time, I take a brand new person, never solved the cube, never thought they could solve the cube, and I can teach them how to solve every cube, because I teach all the cubes the exact same way. I teach them every cube in between an hour and a half and 2 hours total teach time. So it's not the speed, this is not the fastest, it's not the shortest moves, but because it works on every size cube and you don't have to learn more to go up, I believe this is the easiest way to teach, easiest way to learn, and I know it's I have fun teaching it. So we're not using the 6, the 8 by right now. We're using the 3 and the 4. All right. I'm composed again. That was unexpected. All right. So we ready? When we start? I said you don't have to have an order of operations, but because every cube has 8 corners, I start with the 8 corners, because whether you have a 2x2 or larger, you start with 8 corners. And when I'm teaching, I teach the corners first, and then I say, oh, you did the corners, great, now do the corners on that one. Okay, now do the corners on that one. Okay, now do the corners. Okay, now scramble it and try it again. Let's do the corners again. So we just do, for the first hour, we just do corners, because A and B, and they're working on the corners, they're doing the same thing. They don't get confused by throwing other pieces into the mix. They just do the corners. And then as I'm sending them home with the cube, they come back in a week with it. I send them home with a large enough cube that they can experiment with. And then I say, oh, by the way, you've been doing the B on just the top and the outside columns. If you experiment with the other ones, because if the two columns you use are the outside and an inner column, then you're going to be moving edges around. So play with that. If you use 2 inside columns, you're going to be moving the centers around. But it's still slide up, slide down, slide down. So it's still the formula B, but you can change which columns you use and then to do different things. And whatever you're doing, you're only moving 3 pieces around, so it doesn't matter. When you're doing it, you're not messing up the rest of the cube, so it doesn't matter what you're doing. So I send them home with a 4x4 or larger, and they come back in a week, and they said, I just have a problem. I have one question. Everything's working fine, but I just have one question, and it will usually be a parody, and I'll say, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that one, and then I'll show how the parody is undone. So let me do that. Enough talking. All right. I used to be color neutral, but when I was creating this method and passing it by my friends, they're going, you have to tell them what color to use. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll tell them to use yellow. We'll use yellow. All right. So I'll pick a yellow. I'm working only on the corners, so I'm ignoring everything but the corners. So here's a yellow that has a corner on it. I'm going to hold that so that corner is under my left thumb. And I'm ignoring everything but the corners. So the corner that I'm looking at that I'm going to be affecting is this cube under my right thumb, the top front right corner. So I'm working on yellows. I'm ignoring everything that's not yellow and everything that's not corner. I'm just ignoring them. So I look at this corner and I see, is there a yellow somewhere on this corner? And if there is, then formula A, bottom row, right column, will bring it to the top. If there's not, then I have them look at the corner below here to see if there's a yellow here. And if there's no yellow in either one of these two spaces, then we rotate the bottom by a quarter turn until the answer is yes. So we got to make sure that there's a yellow here or here. And with that done, formula A is going to bring it to the top. So bottom row, right column, I move this piece away from the action. I move the space it's going to land in down. I move the piece into the space and the piece in the space back up again. So is my yellow on top? Not yet. I'm going to do it again. So out, down, in, up. Is my yellow on top? Not yet. I'll do it again. Out, down, in, up, and out, down, in, up. I could have just muscled it up into place there, but I teach. I do the second corners the exact same way I do the first corner, so I only teach the one way. I'm teaching brand new beginners who can't look ahead. So when my yellow is on top, then I slide just the top row to move it out of the way and protect it. And now that's under my left thumb to be protected. And I look again, is there a yellow here or here? And if the answer is yes, then formula A will bring it to the top. Bottom row, right column, and there it is. It's on top. Doesn't matter. So slide it out of the way. Now I'm not rotating the cube. I'm keeping the cube stable, but I slide the top row to get it out of the way. And then I'm looking, is there a yellow here or here? The answer is no. So I slide the bottom until there's a cube here or here. And then formula A will bring it to the top. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. And it's going to be five turns or less because 6 turns get your cube back to however you started it. So my yellow's on top. The next step is to look at the other corners to see if they match. Either one of them matches, none of them matches, or they all match, because by nature of the cube, that's what it's going to be. This one, they all match. So I'm going to set that aside and work on this one to see if I can get one that needs to be affected, that doesn't all match. So here's my yellow. Looking at this corner, there's no yellow here, but there is a yellow underneath. So formula A will bring it to the top. Out, down, in, up. Okay, yellow's on the top. I slide it out of the way to protect it, and I look at this corner. I'm ignoring everything but yellow, everything but corners. So this does not have a yellow on it, and this one does not have a yellow on it. Rotate the bottom by quarter turns until the answer is yes, and then formula A brings it to the top. Out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. When my yellow's on top, I slide it top row out of the way to protect it, and I keep going in this one. There's a yellow here already. Hello! Haven't seen you in a while. We've got, I'm doing a walkthrough of a solve. Per request, and I've done the yellow corners on this cube. Now I'm doing the yellow corners on this cube. Let's see if anyone else joined me. Let's update my list. Alrighty. Hello. Hi cubies and newbies, I am Sunshine, and this is the ABCube method for solving Rubik's Cubes. I am the creator, and formula A, oh kitty, you startled me. Formula A brings a piece to the top, formula B moves 3 pieces around, and that's all you ever need to do. And doesn't matter order of operations on the cube, but that's all you ever need to do, unless you have a parity. But don't worry, parities are a lie, and we can undo them with a quarter turn, and I'll walk you through that when we get to that point. In the meantime, if you have questions or comments, chat me up. I love to respond. And Haha. So we're bringing the yellow. We're working with yellow first. We're working with corners first, and we brought the yellow to the top on this one. Now we're bringing yellow to the top on this one. If I do have a YouTube channel. You can check it out in my bio has it listed. I will tell you it's youtube.com/@ABCube method. Is my YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is mostly uploads from here, but I do have a playlist. The playlist is all of the videos from my tutorial page in consecutively of the playlist. I don't do a walkthrough from start to finish. Each video is its own step. So I do step 1 on these 4 cubes, and then I do step 2 on these 4 cubes. The reason why I do that is so that instead of having to look for when most people do a YouTube video, they say they have a scrambled cube, and they talk you through solving that cube, which is great if your cube looked like that. But if your cube has something that they're not demonstrating, then you have to look at something else. And if it does have something that they're demonstrating, then you have to watch until you get to that point that you want to learn, and then you have to watch that over and over again until you can figure it out. And so I did differently. I did, okay, this step, I do it on 4 cubes, so hopefully one of them looks like what the cube in your hand has. And I do that. So yes, check out my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. That'd be lovely. So I've got yellow on top on 3 of them, but this one the yellow's not on top. So I look. Because is there a yellow on one of these colors? Yes. If no, then I look under here. And if it's not on either one of these, then I rotate the bottom by a quarter turn until the answer is yes. Because if you have yellow on top and one of them is not yellow, there's got to be 4 yellows because of the nature of the cube. So there's a yellow. I do formula A to bring it to the top. This is not a speed solving method. This is not a fewest moves method. But because it works on every size and shape, every size and complexity Rubik's Cube, I believe it is the easiest to learn. I know that when I teach it in real life, it takes me under 2 hours to teach a brand new beginner, a non-cuber, as they will call themselves. Okay, so these ones, when you get to the yellow on top, to your color on top, either all of you look at the other colors of your corners, and either they will match to each other, either all of them will match like this one, or none of them will match, or one side will match. If no side matches, it doesn't matter which way you hold the cube, you're going to proceed the same way as if you had one side that matches. But if you have one side that matches, it faces away from you as headlights where you're driving the car. Okay, head pointing away from you. And then the way to formula B moves 3 pieces around, and moving those 3 pieces around. Okay, so the ones that match are away from you. You're using 1 row and 2 columns, and the 2 columns that you're using are the outside columns because you're working with corners. As you get farther along in the cube, you'll use other 2 columns, but it'll still be top row 2 columns. So follow along. We can slide the top first up, left column up, reverse the top right column up, slide the top left column down, reverse the top right column down. If you pay attention to it, it's a mathematical 0. It's a commutator. So for every up there's a down, for every left there's a right, which means you're only moving the 3 pieces you want to move. The rest of the cube, if it's already solved, is not scrambled by doing formula B or by doing formula A. So I did formula B. It looks like I've messed it up, but I haven't. I'm just going to go right into formula A to bring my yellow back to the top, and when I do, the corners will match. So out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. Slide the top to protect it. Keep going. Out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. Slide the top to protect it. Keep going. Out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. And because one side matched, and I did this, now all of my sides match. So now the first 4 corners are correct to each other. If none of the sides had matched to begin with, then after I did B and A, we would look at it again and have one side that matches, in which case we know how to hold it, and then we do B and A again. So there's my yellow on top. There's my yellow corners correct to each other, and they're happy. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the second 4 corners, and I'm going to do that the exact same way I did the first 4 corners, because when I taught you the first 4 corners, I did it in a way that wouldn't mess up the bottom. So we're going to take these yellows, we're going to put them face down, and we're going to abandon them. We're going to abandon them, and they're going to take care of themselves because we trust them. They will. So the next thing to do is we're going to bring a corner color to the top, and so you have to know what your second color is. And if you're a newbie, you have to look at it and see which color is common to all 4 of the corners. And in our case, it's white. In most cases, opposite yellow will be white, but some cubes are non-traditionally colored, like my void cube. It does not have a white; it has a purple. And so another reason why I do the corners first is because we don't know what the color scheme is if you don't know whether you have a non-standardized cube, unless it's your cube that you know with, but still, I would teach beginners. So we found out that yellow, it's white. Opposite yellow is white, so we're going to bring white to the top. And these ones are already on top, so I'll keep them. I'm going to affect this cube. I'm going to do Formula A to bring my white to the top. And I've abandoned my yellows. And so I'm down and up, out, down and up. My white came to the top. And at this point, the last person I taught said, "Oh no, my yellows have scrambled. I've got to start again." No, they haven't. They haven't. We were abandoning them for a reason, because we trust them, and we're not going to look on our yellows again until we have the white on top on all 4 corners. So this is so slide it away to protect it. Keep going to affect this cube. Out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. When my white is on top on all 4 corners, now I can look at my yellow. And yes, they are still happy. Okay, I'll do it on this one. White, white. Okay, I'm going to bring white to the top. Out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. And again, I don't look at my yellows yet because I'm not finished with my step. Slide the top. Out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. Keep going until my white is on top. Okay, white's on top on all 4 corners. Now I can look at my abandoned yellows, and they're still happy. Because this method is not going to mess up anything that you've already done. However, if it does, there's only 3 ways you can make a mistake with this method. You can drop the cube halfway through your pattern and not know how to finish it, or you can as you're looking at the arrows, you read it wrong in your brain. Instead of going up, instead of going down, you went up again. Instead of going up, you went down again. You misread the arrows. Or I don't remember what the 3rd way is. I know there's 3 ways to mess up, but I can't remember it right now. So our yellows are happy to each other. Our whites are on the top color. Now we look to see if the sides match. Again, either all of them will match, none of them will match, or one of them will match. And so this one has one that matches. This one has one that matches. Okay. If none of them match, it doesn't matter which way you hold it. You do B and then A, and you will then have one side that matches. But if you have one side match, if you have all of them matches, you just set it aside until we're ready for the next step. But with one of them matching, you put the matching face away from you, as headlights driving away from you in a car. And you do Formula B. Top row, outside columns. Slide first up, reverse slide back second up, slide down, okay? And then we go right into A to bring our colors back to the top. We don't rotate the cube. Oh, that's the 3rd way you can do it, is rotate the cube at mid-cycle instead of rotating just the top. So out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. Slide the top to protect it. Keep going. Out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. Slide the top to protect it. Keep going. Out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. And again, we're abandoning our yellows. We don't look at our yellows until the step is done. And now that the step is done, we can check out our yellows and they're happy. If you look at your yellows ahead of time, you're gonna think that they're messed up, but that's because you don't trust your yellows. You gotta trust them. That's why we abandon them, is because we trust them. So Second four corners are now correct to each other, and the first four corners are still correct to each other, so all I have to do is rotate the top, if needed, until the top and bottom are correct to each other, and then your corners are done. Boom! And so we'll do that on this one. That one color, green, matches. It's facing away from us. Slide up, slide down, and bring the white. And see, Formula B doesn't mess up the yellows, and Formula A doesn't, as long as we do all of the corners, not just one. So up, out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. Slide the top, out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up. Slide, and the white's on top on all four corners now, and they should be happy with each other, and they are. So the first four corners are still correct. The second four corners are now correct. Slide the top as needed until the top and the bottom match. And these corners are now correct to each other. Boom! Corners are all done. Yay! Most people will work around the center, the absolute center, because that's what we were taught back in the 80s. This is not the 80s anymore, guys. So you can just muscle it into place if you want to. However, if you have pieces that are already magically solved by themselves, if you don't want to just muscle it into place, Formula A applies to the absolute center. Like, for instance, if someone had done boxes on your 3x3, you just line up. You find the piece that wants to go to the top. Here's my yellow, wants to go to the top. Line it up under where it wants to be. Of course it is. And then you move the piece away from the action, move the space it wants to land in down, move the piece into the action, into the space, and the piece and space back up again. So Formula A, out, down, in, up, brings your piece back where it wants to be. Now we'll set the other one. But if you have boxes, Formula A will work as long as the three colors that interchange on the absolute center is the top, front, and right. So as long as those are the three colors that want to change, Formula A will do it once or twice. So these corners are done. I've lined up my center just because I can. On the 4x4, I can't line up my center because I can't yet. I don't know which is what, but that's okay, because when the corners are done, they dictate what the color each side's going to be. Am I from the U.S.? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So if we let our corners dictate what color each side's going to be instead of using the center, because not all cubes have an absolute center, and this works the very same way on all cubes. I'm doing all cubes the same way. So after you've learned my method, you don't have to learn more to go on to the next larger size cube, because it's all done the exact same way. So when I teach this method, the people I teach walk away knowing how to pick up any size cube in any state of scramble and put it down solved. I'll say again, it's not fastest and it's not shortest moves, but it's easiest to teach, and I believe it's easiest to learn. I have never yet failed to teach someone in under 2 hours how to do not just the 3x3, but every cube. So if it took you longer than 2 hours to learn your method, give mine a try. Also, if you have non-cuber friends who just, they just don't have the mental bandwidth to practice and learn all the algorithms that you learned, but they just tell me the secret. They just want the secret. Bring them here. This is the secret. This is the secret. This is the way to solve every cube without spending months of your life memorizing algorithms. So, put that away. Our corners are done on these cubes. Now the corners, again, order of operations is not important on these. It is on these, but it's not on these. And so you can do layer by layer. You can do inside out if you want to, but you're going to have a problem if you have a parity in correcting that parity, because the parodies are lies. Don't believe them. You don't have to learn a parity algorithm ever. And I don't teach my beginners that there's such a thing as a parity algorithm, because I have not taught them standardized notation. I have not taught them that a right is parallel to a left prime. I don't have to teach, they don't have to learn the names that this is right and that this is capital R and this is lowercase r and this is, there's no reason to learn a new language just to solve a cube. So Corners are done. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place the edges among them. And because if the corners were done, this one would be solved. I set that aside. But the next thing to do for the next smallest cube is to do the edges. So I'm going to do the edges next, simply because I treat every cube the same. If I said I'm going to do the centers now, then this person with this cube would just have to twiddle their thumbs until I got to where I could work on what they need. And so I can teach large groups of people without anyone having to twiddle their thumbs till I get to what they need, unless their cube is mostly solved, in which case, I'm sorry for you. Oh, I said that if you mess up, that's okay, because what I have discovered is the hardest thing about learning Rubik's Cubes is to scramble it. Because, you know, it's like, okay, you know, I'll teach them the corners. I'll go, okay, scramble it and do it again. They're like, but I worked so hard. I did so well. I don't want to mess it up. But the thing is that, so when you're learning, you're like, I don't want to mess up what I did. I would protect it. Let's go further, you know. But if you want to get to a point where you're comfortable with everything that you've done before you move on to the next step, because so that you don't worry about messing it up. And as you get further advanced with the cube, you scramble the cube and you're like, oh, that's not really scrambled. I can still see patterns, so it needs to be scrambled more. So scrambling is the hardest thing, and if you make a mistake, you've just scrambled your cube all by, you know, magically without even trying. And it just gives you more opportunity to practice. So corners are done. I was asked to do a walkthrough, so I'm going to continue. Okay, so I have been training my eyes to look for yellow and white. And so instead of just looking at all of my colors now, I'm going to keep looking for yellow and white. Do I ever go to a cubing competition? I have not yet. I thought that I really couldn't because I'm not fast. But I mean, my average has been in half. But someone told me, you know, that's not going to be a deterrent. I can still, you know, I can still go and compete. And I can also still go and just meet people. So I would love to do that. But I have not yet. And I do want to. So that will be in my future. So corners are done. I'm going to use the corners to tell me where the edges want to be. So I've been looking at yellow and white. I'm going to keep looking at yellow and white. So I'm going to look. I'm holding my cube. The formula B to work on edges is going to move it from the top to a side, from the top front to a side. So I'm holding my cube, so yellow and white are left and right. This way or this way, doesn't matter. As long as yellow and white are left and right, then that's how I'm going to hold my cube. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the opposite edges. I'm going to do the yellow and white edges. So I'm doing that by looking at the middle of the middle area. For this one, for a 3x3, there's only one. But I'm going to look at my middle area, and I'm going to see whether there's a cube on there that has a yellow or white, so I can throw it to the side. Mind you, I don't say, okay, where is my white and green one? I don't spend time looking on my cube. I just find a piece that's wrong. In which case, here's a yellow piece. It does not belong in the middle. Okay, and yellow and white are left and right. The yellow is on front. I want it to be on top, so I flip my cube, but yellow and white are still left and right, so it doesn't matter. And then so my yellow color is on top, and the edge piece has two colors, so I look at the second color, and I move my corners together as a unit until the corners match the front color. Okay, that's the only setup I need to do. So I find a cube that wants to go to the outside, and I make the corners match the front. Then yellow is going in the left direction. So I'm going to pause here for a second, because this one's going to go in the left position. Now I'm going to find one that's going to go in the right position. Okay, here's a piece. Where are my stickies for marking my pieces? It's easier for you to follow along with why my eyes are following if I show you what I'm looking at. So I have poster sticker up stickies. All right, so here, yellow and white are left and right. Here is a piece in the middle that wants to go to the left, and here is a piece in the middle that wants to go to the right. Oh, I bring the corners to match the front. Okay, and yellow's in this direction. So this one is going to go to the left and this one's going to go to the right. So if your cube, whatever on your cube, if it wants to go to the left, this is how you do it. These are the 2 columns because the first column is still top row 2 columns. The first column is where you want the cube the piece to land. I want this yellow and blue to land between the yellow and blue and something other corners. So this is my first column, and where it begins is your second column. So for this one, this is my first, this is my second. For this one, it wants to go in this direction, so this is my first and this is my second. So top row, 2 columns. Start by moving the piece away from where it wants to land. So away, first up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. And this piece has been placed. Do it for this one to the right, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. And this one has been placed. You might notice that I'm not looking for the pieces that want to go somewhere, and I'm not finding a piece and pairing up my edges, which is a good way to increase your odds of a parity later on. I'm just, because that seems to me to be 2 solves, and that doesn't make sense in my head. Why would I solve it to look like a 3x3 and then solve it again as a 3x3 when instead I can just find a piece that is not where it wants to be and throw it where it wants to be. So this piece is going to go to the left side, and this piece is also going to go to the left side. All right, this piece is going to go to the left side. Let me find a piece that's going to go to the right side. Nope, that's also, yeah, no, that's also left. Come on. All right, well, I'm just going to pretend. All right, so this piece is going to the left side. I'm moving the corners to match the front. It's going to the left side, so this column, slide up, slide down, and over here to put something onto the right side, I have, well, look at this. These are on the right side, they need to be moved out. So I'm going to find 2 garbage pieces that I can move into that spot to move it to the right side. Okay, so these 2 are going to go displace these, so they'll be out in the middle where I can get to them easier. Again, yellow and white are left and right. I'm going, this is where they want to end up, so I'm going away, up, in. I treat them as one piece because I can. Down, in, down. Okay, so that moved these pieces to the right and gave me more pieces in the middle to work on. So I keep doing that until they're solved. This piece is, here's a white. Bring the corners to match the front. It's going in this direction. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Find another yellow or white. Yellow and white are left and right. White's on top. It's going in the right direction. Away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, second down. Is placed. Here's a yellow. Stick. There we go. Okay, red is corners match the front. It's going in the yellow direction. So away, first up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. Okay, find another piece in the middle. It's yellow or white, and I don't have any more, so now I'm going to assess the cube. But before I do that, I'm going to do the yellow and white on this cube. So here's some, these 2 are already paired up. I can keep them paired up because I can. So yellow and white are left and right. I bring the corners to match the front. My active color is on top, and it's going in this direction. So I move it away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, second down. I'm ignoring all the centers. I'm only working on the edges, and they're going where the corners told me to go. So here's a white. It's on front, so I flip it so it's on top. Yellow and white are left and right. Bring the corners to match the front. Determine which direction it's going, and start by moving it away. Now this one wants to come out as well, so I'm going to throw this piece in there as well, just so I can avoid having to do it later on, maybe. But it's possible that I can just, that placing the correct placing pieces will displace it by itself, but if not, I'm just going to do it right now because I can. So away up, in, second up, away down, in, second down. That one is placed. Look for another yellow or white. Here's a red, here's a white, here's a white. On top, corners match the front. It's going in this direction, so first up, second up. Away up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Actually, I usually say out instead of away. Here's a white. Bring the corners to match the front. It's going in the right direction, so first up, second up, away, first up, out, out, first up, in, second up, out, down, first, second, out, second, down. So out, down, and up, 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 down, down. Looking for more. Here's yellows. Here's yellows. Bring the corners to match the front. It's going in this direction, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Here is another piece. Yellow and white are left and right. I want the yellow to be on top, so I flip it. Yellow and white are still left and right. It's going in this direction. Nope, I gotta bring the corners to match the front. Sometimes sunshine makes mistakes. How about that? As I get ahead of myself, and sometimes I forget to line the corners up. So line the corners up, determine its direction. Out, up, in, up, out, down, in, down. That is placed. If you have any questions or comments, hit me in the chat. Okay, yellow and white are left and right. White's on top, bringing corners to match the front color. And that's all the setup you need to do. It's going into the white direction. So, first, second, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. It is placed. I keep doing that for until there's no more yellow or white in the middle. Corners match the front. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Okay, it's placed. Here's another white on top. Bring the corners to match the front. It's going in this direction. So, and this one also wants to move out, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to use these, treat these as one piece. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Okay. No, for as long as there's a yellow or white, I just keep going. Corners match the front. It's going in this direction. Away, up, in, up, out, down, in, down. Okay, here's another one. It's already lined up. Out, up, in, up, out, down, in, down. And because you're doing B is A and B is all you're doing at this point in time, all you're doing is B. You do it over and over again. You've memorized it. You got your muscle memory going on. And the only decision to make, the only determination to make, you don't decide, you just determine, is which direction does it want to go based on where the cube will tell you which direction it wants to go. So first, second, out, up, in, up, out, down, in, down. Okay, looking for yellow or white. One more. Okay, stick. Thank you. Stick. Okay, bring the corners to match the front. Okay, determine its direction. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Now, I'm looking just at the middle. No more yellows or whites. Also, no more yellows or whites. So at that point in time, we look at the cube and see whether we're done. This one is incorrectly placed. So I'm going to need to bring that into the middle where I can work on it. So I'm going to use formula B to displace this cube so that it's in the middle and where I can work on it. So again, out, up, in, second up, out, down, in, second down, and that just put a garbage piece there so that I can work on a whiter yellow some more. Okay, corners match the front. It's going in this direction. Out, up, in, up, out, down, in, down. Or just, I usually like when I'm not dictating the horizontal rows, because it's always the reverse of what it was before, and it's always start by moving away. So corners match the front. It's going this direction. So out, up, in, up, out, down, in, down, or up, up, down, down. Look, no more yellow or white. So we look again to see if we're correct. This one is correct. This one is incorrect. We've got a piece that's not right. So we'll move it to their left because formula B moves it that way. So we're going to displace this piece. Okay. You're going to put a garbage piece into there. So just again, formula B. And then I place it. Okay. Oh, out, up, in, up, out, down, in, down. Okay. So now my yellow and white are correct. The edges are yellow and white, opposite edges are correct. These opposite edges are correct. So good. Yay. So now we've done the opposite edges. Now we do the side edges. So because I like yellow more than I like white, we're going to, at this point in time, we're going to take our white, we're going to put it face down. We're going to abandon our white because we abandoned the yellow earlier. Now we're going to abandon our white. Just to abandon our white. That will be there to help us keep track of our columns. When you get larger cubes, that's helpful because you can get distracted mid pattern. So now I know that the yellow and white, I know that the opposite center is white. Now I look at this one. This one's correct. This one's correct. This one's not correct. This one's not correct. So I'm going to displace a yellow. I'm going to displace a piece into the incorrect spot. Okay. Using formula B. Up, up, down, down. And yes, I know there are patterns that QBs learn to take shortcuts. I had to write this without shortcuts because I'm teaching brand new beginners. Okay, so I displaced a yellow, and we're going to now work on whatever piece on top is not yellow until the yellow comes back to the top. And the yellow will come back to the top. It'll either come back correctly or incorrectly, but as long as it's back to the top row, that's when we pause to take another evaluation. So we're looking for a piece on top that's not yellow, and that's the piece we're going to apply formula B to. So again, we said move the corners to match the front. Well, it's not just the corners, it's the whole cube. We're holding onto the top row, and we're moving the whole cube until the corners match the front, because we already lined up our center to match it, so these two are now, pretend they're locked. Okay, so corners match the front is going to the blue direction. So again, more formula B, way up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Okay, and this other yellow piece that we didn't displace is going to keep bopping back and forth as we work on this piece. So this piece, it's yellow's on top again, so we evaluate what is there an incorrect piece. There is an incorrect piece, so we bring our yellow to displace this yellow again into this spot. Up, up, down, down. Okay, and again, piece that's not yellow, bring it back to the front, and we're going to place it correctly this time. Up, up, down, down, and set the top as needed, and we're done. Okay, so there's the 3x3. But if we do, so now we're going to do the side edges on this one, and it was so corners, and this one's done. Corners and edges, and this one's done. And as we keep going, there's just more and more to do. So because every size cube is done the exact same way, you don't have to learn anything more than A and B. So I look at my sides, I find one that's incorrect, and I'm going to displace a yellow down, just one. I'm not going to displace all of them. I only go to the halfway mark to displace. That way, if there is a parity, I force it to be on opposite sides instead of next to each other or opposite each other. So I'm going to displace this yellow down into an incorrect spot. Up, up, down, down, and that yellow will find its way back to the top, and when it does, I evaluate. In the meantime, I find a piece that's not yellow. Okay, make the corners match the front, determine which direction it's going this direction. So, top row, first column, second column. First is where it's going to land, second is where it begins. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. That is placed, and I look for the piece on top that's not yellow. Bring the corners to match the front. Determine its direction. It's going this way, so first and second. Out, up, in, up, out, down, in, down. Find a piece on top that's not yellow until my yellow comes back. Corners match the front. It's going in this direction. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. And the thing is here is that when you're using algorithms, the problem I had with algorithms is not only do you have to memorize the algorithm, you have to memorize what that algorithm does, because different algorithms do different things, and then you have to memorize which order to use which algorithms, because this algorithm will mess up these pieces, so you want to do this before those pieces are placed, and it's just, there's a lot to remember, and my mind is very simple. So, piece on top that's not yellow. So that's why this works for non-cubers, because their brain only they take a picture of my A and B on their phone. They've got it with that's all the cheat sheet you ever need. And I'm gonna make some merch. Give me ideas on what kind of merch you'd like to see, because I want to make a poster, and I want to make a keychain, and the poster will demonstrate which the algorithms use when. I'm thinking I'd love to make one of these on a t-shirt and just have them upside down, so if I can just like look at my t-shirt and see see what I'm doing. So newbies have the t-shirt, they just look and they see what pattern is and keep doing it. So I want to do that. That'd be cute. Corners match the front. It's going into the green direction. Out, up, in, up, out, down, in, down. It's always just top row, 2 columns. And yellow hasn't come back yet, so I keep going. Okay. Corners to match the front. Corners in cube to match the front. It's going the orange direction. First column, second column. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Yes, my logo. I do have a logo. Where's my logo? Go to my abcube.how. abcube.how is my website, and it has my logo on it. The logo is the 5x5. Here's my logo. Take 5x5 and line it up. I do 2 formula A's. The first formula A is done with the second and third columns and rows. So I do out, down, in, up, and then I do it again with the third and fourth instead of the first and second. Out, down, in, up. And there we have a pretty flower. And it goes with the ABC method, ABC theme. ABC because you break down the alphabet into just basic kindergarten stuff, A and B and ABC, and then of course the C stands for cube, so it's just ABC. And the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. Not really, but in kindergarten that's what you're taught. So yes, I'll have a hat with my logo on it, and just ABCube. I have some stickers. I got some stickers made, but then I want some stickers made with my logo. The stickers that I got with my website on it is just the cube with the melting pieces, the cube that has the pieces melting, but that's just a proof of concept. I want to get some stickers made with my logo on it, and then just the abcube.how on the stickers. That way when I go to convention competitions and stuff, I can hand them out as a business card. Because I think that would be cool. So I'm gonna have some stickers made as well. So I want to have a hat. I want a hat with my album on. I want T-shirts and hoodies and all that kind of stuff. I have, I gotta show you something. Hold on. Someone said goodbye. I will have a great rest of my day. I hope you do too. Look at this. Look at my purse. Someone had gotten me a cube purse before, but it wasn't really a cube purse. It had, symmetrical pieces that, it wasn't conceivably actually a cube. And so I kept that until I got something better, and then I gave it away. But this one, it looks like it could conceivably be a Rubik's Cube. There was two that I was looking at online, this one and another one. The other one had actually 5 sides colored, and the zipper, instead of being on the top, the zipper went along this between the columns, so you would lift the first layer up to open your purse. The problem was, and that one was a designer label, and it was like twice as much, but it did not have the standard cube colors. It had like pink on it, and I'm like, no, that's not everything that is colored and cube shaped is a Rubik's Cube. And so I'm like, nope, that's just not the one I want. So this is the one I want, and it's so cute. And I got it for my birthday, and I started using it this week, and 2 people yesterday commented on it. And so I'm very happy. The first thing I did was to try to make my cube look like the purse. And it was possible for a little while. I mean, I started with the blue and worked around started with the mirrors. Who knows? But while the green is opposite blue, the red is not opposite white. So if I wanted to get a marker and turn this into an orange, then I could make my cube match the pattern. But that's not important enough for me. It looks enough like a Rubik's Cube that I'm happy. And you can't tell just by looking at it from one side that it's not solvable. So I'm happy with that. I'm so happy. It's so pretty. Okay, so there's my logo. Primary colors, primary ABC method. The theme is, this is simple. This is rudimentary. This is kindergarten stuff. And so anybody can learn it. And the only person I have not been able to teach was my sister. I said, oh yeah, let me teach you. And 10 minutes in, she's like, nope, sorry, my brain just doesn't work this way. And she was not interested to continue. And so she's the only one that I have not been able to teach. Oh, and my other sister my other sister, back in the 80s, I lived with her, and back in the 80s, and she had never had any interest in the cube, even back then. She says, I love to twist it, and I love to see how many colors I can get on each side, but I have no interest in solving it. So I gave her one of my little 1x1 cubes, the little novelty 1x1 cubes, and autographed it for her, and she was so happy. It was all she wanted. So, logo. All right, so I'm still working on white, still face down. I've abandoned it. I'm still working on solving my side edges. Okay, corners match. Oops, take that off. Corners match the front. It's going in this direction. First and second. These are the 2 columns. Away up, in up, away down, in down, and still no yellow on top yet, so keep going. Okay, first and second, out, up, in, up, out, down, in, down. And look, my yellow found its way back to the top. So now I look to see if the sides are correct. They either are or they're not. If they're not, I'll just place another piece into them. And they are correct, so that's done. It is similar in order of operations to the cage method, but fewer algorithms, fewer things to memorize. So I consider it unique. Let's see. Anybody still here? If you've just okay. All right. If you've just joined me, I'm Sunshine. I'm the creator of the ABCube method for solving Rubik's Cubes. That's this right there. All you need to solve any size complexity Rubik's Cube is just these two formulas, because parities are a lie. You don't have to pay attention to them. I was hoping I would get a parity. I did not get a parity, so let's go over here where I got some other parities. You theoretically cannot get a parity on a 3x3, but the parity is where there's two pieces and only two pieces that are out of place. And that's not the case here because these two pieces are also out of place. I had a corner parity here, which I solved yesterday. And the corner parity, if there's two parities, you can have them, but you can't have just one. So when I solved the corner parity, we realized that we did not just have two edge pieces to switch. We had three edge pieces to switch. But how you do undo a parity, when you have, where do I have a parity anywhere? I don't have a parity anywhere. When you have a parity, I'm just gonna have to tell you. Here's it. Nope, no parity. When you have a parity, when you have two pieces that look like that need to be switched, and only two pieces. Hello, hi, hi, Paulson, 1987. Thank you for joining me. How are you having a wonderful day? Having a wonderful day. When you have it, when it's only two pieces that look like they're wrong, and you can have that on a it can be a corner parity, or it can be a edge parity. You don't usually notice the corner parities though, or you don't notice parities on the smaller cubes because you can always see, if you get a parity, if you work from the outside in, if a parity is caused by an invisible center being a quarter turn off. So if this was a large cube, if this was the void cube, and this is what the parity looked like, the absolute center would be a quarter turn off, and all you'd have to do is make one quarter turn on the row that touches that parity, and then resolve the cube from that state, and the parity disappears. So if you have a parity on, wait, I have a parity on this one. No, I solved it yesterday. Hold on, let me give you a parity. I'm going to give you a parity. By the way, so people are like, yeah, good, thanks. Been here ages, listening to you while I take apart a Mikado set. Ah, thank you. I'm happy to be in your background. Gonna create this parity. Again, I'm only using A and B. The person to discover a parity, Jeffrey Farasano, Facebook friend of mine, he is a hero of mine. He is the first guy he's the guy to set the first record for speed solving the Rubik's Cubes. I watched him live on TV. Okay, here's a parity. This piece wants to be here, this piece wants to be here. All of the other edges are correct. Okay, they're not really, because if if pieces were correct, then it wouldn't have a parity. But so he was the record holder for the 3x3, and when they came out with the 4x4, they invited him. They had a toy convention, and they invited him because he was the big shot. And so they said, here's a new toy we're coming out with, and they showed him the 4x4, and he was able to play with the 4x4 there at the convention, and he told me the story. And so he was scramble and solve, and then he got to where it was, oh, that doesn't show up on a 3x3, that's different. What do I do with that? And so. And then they said, oh, sorry, convention's over. You can't take that with you. We have to take it back now. And so they took it back from him while he had a parity on it. He hadn't solved it. Now, for me, that would just be, when I with my first 4x4, as I was solving my 4x4, I got halfway solved, and my pieces broke. one of my pieces broke. I didn't know how to fix it, didn't know how to put it back together again, and so I spent months with an unsolved puzzle in my head, which is not good for neurospicy. But so say that they had a parody, they took it away from him, he went home, and with colored pencils and graph paper, he drew the parody and then solved the parody without the cube in his hand. I'm telling you, his mind is brilliant. His mind is so sexy. He is, oh yes, it drove me mad. But so it just colored pencils and graph paper, he drew the parody out and solved it. So he was the first person to solve the parody. He's the first person to discover the parody. And so he can create a parody in 10 moves. So if your parody algorithm is more than 10 moves, it's not, you could do it better. So he can do he was actually driving in the car with one of the executives, and they were talking about the parody, and they said, yeah, it takes 12 moves to undo it, and he said, no, it doesn't, it takes 10, and they said, no, it takes 12, and so he took the cube and listened to him, I was driving here, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 10, there's the parody. So brilliant. If you're not excellent, man. Okay, so here's a parody. This piece wants to be here, this piece wants to be here. Formula B moves 3 pieces around, always moves 3 pieces around. You can try to apply Formula B to this, but it will just change what the parody looks like. And it doesn't matter what the parody looks like. There's a parody algorithm if it looks like this. There's a parody algorithm if it looks like these two. There's a parody algorithm if it looks like these two. There's many parody algorithms, but parodies are all solved by one particular thing, the same thing, and that is that the invisible center, which you don't have on a 3x3, but you do have on a void cube, and you do have on even numbered cubes. Anything that's you don't know the center between this layer. Okay, so the invisible center is a quarter turn off. So if you make that quarter turn, and then look at your edges, now instead of 2 edges that are incorrect, you have 1, 2, 3 that need to be placed, and you have algorithms that will move 3 pieces around, like the Formula B. Formula B, it doesn't. They don't line up in the same place, but so when you move that center, then the parity disappears. So if you're going from corners to edges to inside, then when that parity shows up, you make that quarter turn. If it's a corner parity, the row is the outside row that they're on. If it's an edge parity, the row is it's an inner row. But anytime you have a parity, once you make that quarter turn, then the parity's gone and you can keep solving. So if you go corners, then edges, then centers, then when the parity shows up, you solve it and keep going, and it takes the same amount of time to do your centers, whether you do it first or whether you do it last. So it doesn't really matter. But if you've done the centers first, then when you make that quarter turn for the parity, then you have to reset that row of your centers, which is why if you are going inside out, from the inner out, and you have a parity, you'll probably use your algorithm, because it's easier to use your algorithm than make that quarter turn and then reset the centers. But if you haven't set the centers yet, then making a quarter turn is much easier and faster than the 4 seconds it takes to do your parity algorithm. So that's what a parity is. And formula A brings a piece to the top. Formula B moves 3 pieces around. And when it's the outside, when it's the outsides, it moves the corners. When it's the outside and inside, it moves the edges. But when it's 2 insides, then it moves the centers around. I said you can do Formula A. You can do Formula A, but only on one face, because Formula A from this point is going to affect all 6 sides. So I can do Formula A for just one piece. I can move it away, line it up under where it wants to go, move it away, move the space down, move the piece into the space, and the piece and space back up again. So I can do Formula A for one side, but it does affect all 6 of the sides. So you can only do Formula A for one side. But other than that, you need to use Formula B. So you pick a piece that's wrong. Just pick a piece that is wrong. here is a orange piece. It's on the blue side. It is wrong. So I'm going to move it to the top. So hold orange on the top face, and this piece is going to go up. So I'm using 2 columns, and they're not the outside columns now, because we know that the outside columns move the corners and the edges. So first step is to line it up so that there's something advantageous will come down. I can bring down, this is going to land right here. I can bring down the yellow or the red or the red or the red. I'm going to bring down a red. So I line it up. That's my first top. Then I move this piece, goes up to the top. I have to rotate the top so it lands up in a different column. If it can't go this way because that's the same column. So on diagonals, you have to pay attention to which direction you're going. So I moved it up, slide the top once to a different column, then that column becomes my second column, so that's my second column up. And then you reverse, and because your edges are done, you don't lose track of which columns you're working on. Okay, pick another piece that's incorrect. Here's a yellow. Okay, bring the yellow to the top. So this is going to go up here. Again, it's going to land here. I can bring down a blue, a green, or an orange. So I'm going to bring down the blue. Go up, slide, up, reverse, down, reverse, down. So formula A and B does everything. That's all you ever need. Don't need anything else. Here's a red. Bring it to the top. I want to bring the orange down, so I line that up. Up, slide, up, reverse, down, reverse, down. So it's set the top. It did. So top row, 2 columns. Here's a yellow. Okay. I can bring down the blue, the orange, or the red, or the yellow. Don't want to bring the yellow down. That would do nothing. Don't want to bring the orange down because that's an opposite color. So I'm going to bring this blue down. So I go up, slide, second up, reverse, down, set the top, and continue. Here's another yellow. Okay, I already said I'm not going to bring the yellow orange down, so I'll bring the green down. So go up, different column, slide the top, second column, reverse, down, down. And when you're doing bigger cubes like this, the fact that the edges are done, the edges are there a clue to keep you on track of which column you're working on, but you're only ever working with 2 columns. So set the top and keep going. Here's an orange. Okay, I'll bring the yellow down, so line it up, slide, down, set the top. Okay, those ones are opposites. So let's bring this orange to the top. Okay, up, slide, down. And this is another rinse repeat. This is all you do. And when you get to larger cubes, it's just more the same. There's nothing new. There's no new pieces, no new methods, nothing. You don't have to learn more to go to a next higher step. It just takes more time because there's more pieces. So here's an orange. Line it up, down. Here's a red. Bring down the blue, up, down, set the top. Here's a green. Bring down the red. Actually, I'm going to bring down the blue. Well, I'll just bring down the red. Down. Okay. Gonna have to do a double here. I can either do this twice or I can do a double. It's gonna land right there. So if I line up this, then instead of going up, I can do 2. Slide up, slide 2, slide down. I brought that up there. And now this one. I could have done 2. If I'd done 2 on both sides, it would have switched it. Best laid plans of mice and men. And there we go. there's the walkthrough. So that's it. It feels like a stopping place unless anyone wants to talk. So, okay. So, bring me your non-cuber friends if you want to. Show them me and show them JPerm and see who's easiest for them to understand. Because I know JPerm is the most. I see, as I'm on Facebook, I see, it's like, hey, will you teach me how to do the Rubik's Cube? And the answer is always, go to Facebook or go to YouTube and watch this person, and then that's how you learn. And so there's not really a whole lot of people who actually teach. And so that's what I did back in the 80s when I learned the cube. Instead of going into the speed side of it, I went into the teaching side of it, and it was not the AB method. I created the AB method I published it in 2020. How long did it take me to create it? It took me a few months, but it took me 5 years to beta test it, alpha test it, before I had it. I wrote it all down, and I went to a non-cuber and said, here's a book, here's a cube, here's my book, pretend I'm not here, tell me where it gets confusing. And they'd say okay, and they'd follow through, what does this mean? I'm like, okay, take the book back, rewrite it, find another non-cuber, because that one was already that one's been contaminated. So find another non-cuber, here's my book, here's a cube, pretend I'm not here, tell me where it's confusing. And I did that for 5 years until the feedback I got was, yeah, it worked, I did it. I'm like, okay, it's ready. And so I tried to get a publisher, and they're like, well, who are you that someone would want to, what credibility do you have that someone would want to buy your book? And because there's 1,000 books out there, there's YouTube for free, and there's 1,000 books out there for the Rubik's Cube, and I even I had the dream of being published by the For Dummies people. So I did a search. I went to the For Dummies page and I did a search for what topic are you looking for? And I said Rubik's Cube. And I said, sorry, we don't have that book. And I'm like, great, no one's written it yet. I can be the one. And so I finished with the book. And then I went to their website again and said, Rubik's Cube, and they said, yes, we have that written, here it is. And I'm like, oh dang, I was so depressed for a month. I'm like, oh no. So I had my Kindle, and I downloaded a sample chapter, because you can download a sample chapter for free, and I looked at it, and it was just your typical beginner's method, and it was not even a self-contained book. The book said, it said, okay, now go to YouTube and type in this search string and watch this video for the next step. And I'm like, no, you're kidding. That's crazy. And so, I was rewriting my book from a 3x3 perspective to a 5x5 perspective, because there are no books out there as a beginner method for the 5x5, which is why this is actually listed on Wikipedia for the Professor's Cube as one of the 6 solutions that they have on the Professor's Cube, standalone solutions. So anyway, so I rewrote it from the position from the 3x3 perspective and up to the 5x5 perspective plus everything else, and that took me another 5 years. So then I looked up my competitor, the For Dummies book, and they no longer had it published. So if they kicked them to the curb. So it is no longer a For Dummies book. So, but I'm like, it's not even self-contained. Mine is so much better. So now I'm looking for an agent, because I really want to go with the For Dummies guys, but I'm also not married to the idea, because, sorry, I had an itch on my leg. That's why I was cutting myself in half, because what I really want, I mean, I'd love to be the author of the For Dummies book, but mostly I want this to sell either with a 5x5. The book has to sell with a 5x5, or the school set of the 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can't buy a cube book without a cube in your hand. You can't there's no way to test the principles of it. So I want to give me an agent that will help me partner with the toy company and anyone who makes the cube, and then sell it. Not just as, not like, imagine if you went to Cubicle and every time you buy a set, it says, do you want this book? Customers also bought this book, and I know it's online. I know I can ebook it. But I'm old and I want to actually hold the book in my hand and say, look, I did this. This is what I did. So I'm looking for an agent. If you know any agent friends, because I thought I had an agent. We went to Page Publishing, and they're like, yes, absolutely. And so they kept checking in with me until my book was done. I'm like, my book's done, great. And they're like, great, now give me $5,000. And I'm like, no. And they're like, but this is what you do. And I'm like, I don't want you to help me self-publish. I want the book. I want it to get onto the bookshelves. I want it to. I know cubes, but I don't want to self-publish. I want it to be done the right way. I don't just want to have a book out there. I want it to be done the right way. I want someone who knows how to advertise it, who knows how to put it on the bookshelves, and partner with the toy companies. So that's my next dream. First, I had a dream of creating a new method of simplifying the Rubik's cubes, and then I had a dream of writing into a manuscript, and then I had a dream of now I want to live stream it. Now my dream is I want it in book form. So if you have any agent friends, publisher friends, talk me up to them. That'd be so great. All right. Anyway, if there's no more comments, I have told my story. I see a couple people look like there's a couple of names I don't recognize here on my viewer list. So here's the spiel. Hi, I'm Sunshine. And I created the ABCube method for solving Rubik's cubes, and it's geared toward basic, total non-cubers, total beginners, total newbies, and it works not just on the 3x3, but it works on every size Rubik's cube. So it solves this cube and this cube equally as easily, and it takes me. I'm not fast with the cube. My average for the 3x3 is about 1.5 minutes, but I can teach the cube in under 2 hours. And when I teach the cube, it's not just 3x3; it's this one as well. It's when I teach the cube, I teach every cube. So, all right. So if you're not following me yet, why not? I'm nice. I'm cute. I'm pretty. I'm funny. Follow me if you want to. I don't have a donate button done yet. Thank you. Thank you for following me. That's so awesome. I will follow you back. I don't know if you have a channel or not, but that's my practice, is I follow people back if they follow me. So Paulson and Wordically, I have followed you. Thank you for following me. I acknowledge you. Okay, it's weekend. Go have fun. Be nice to yourself, and I will be back here. I'm usually here every weekday morning, just for about half an hour or so. Just put me on in the background while you're getting ready for your day. But I like to play here Friday afternoons and Saturday mornings. So thank you for sharing your time with me. Thank you for talking to me. And I will be back here next week. I'll be back here next week, and also next week. Thanks for the follow. Oh, thank you. You are welcome. This is so much fun for me. This is what my kids said. This said Twitch is the way to find your people. So I said, great, let's do that. So yeah, I will be back here next week. You guys all have a great day. Bye.